The world's gates of opportunities are wide open for them. They represent virgin potential, a mind ready to be struck. As they stand in wait along long queues, their parents and guardians' hope for them is to qualify for an education that will see them savor life's best prospects. The commencement of every year ushers a new dawn for parents who have young ones joining schools for the very first time. This is usually a rocky period, especially for those with little or no information concerning the right school for their children or the readiness for their children to venture into the world of academia. In the recent past, a child's readiness for school was determined by his or her chronological age, and so the general assumption was that a 5-year-old child was ready to start school. This, however, was opposed by some individuals who felt that some children, though 5 years, were physically underdeveloped, while others who were less than 5 developed. They therefore suggested that a child's readiness for school should be determined by his or her ability to touch his or her left ear by the right hand. To a great extent, this method posed serious doubts and questions. For instance, this method, if followed to the latter, provides no provision for children born without limbs and therefore is discriminatory against special children. Also, the method does not consider the fact that a child's physical development may not necessarily have a correlation to a child's cognitive development. Apart from the conflicting ways of determining a child's readiness for school, another challenge is finding the right schools that will cater for a child's needs to enable it to reach the level of self-actualization. It is unfortunate that many parents have geared lump sum of monies in pursuit for the right education for their children and at the end of the day come out a disappointed lot. Most parents seem to believe the fallacy that an expensive school is synonymous to a good education. Many experts have through the years come up with their own unique ways of determining a child's readiness for school and the right schools for them, but most of their ideas have fallen short. We talked to Professor Oborah, who is the president of the African Council for Gifted and Talented, and also founder DALC Education, to give us a few more insights into this topic.
Gift and talent testing is not something which you wake up one day and do. It's out of research, and we know the human brain is divided into 4 quadrants of thinking or of intelligence. Depending on orientation of your brain matrix and the electrochemical induction taking place at that place, we can know what your characteristics are. We can measure your characteristics, and characteristics determine somebody's potential. It indicates how the brain works. And by measurement of that, we can extrapolate using computer technology, so we can draw for us a graph, and we can see a kid of 5, you give me now, I can tell you the most likely career at age 25. A kid must be assessed, and after assessment, we produce an academic prescription. At the moment, in the UK and most European countries in America, they manage academic prescriptions. In DALC, any person walking in the first time, we have computerized our gift and talent testing. So we get the delimiters of your potentials.
Gifted and talented children can be defined as those with outstanding abilities developed at a level significantly ahead of their peers. These children require differentiated educational programs beyond those normally provided by the regular school program in order to realize their contribution to self and society. I caught up with 5-year-old Elias Mudhomi, whose interest and understanding of aviation is remarkable, not just for a child, but even your normal adult. Sadly, the country lacks a clear policy on identification and placement of such children. Tonight, I look at Kenya's lack of infrastructure of nurturing and deploying such children in their respective gifted areas.
Hi everybody, my name is Elias Mudhomi Gitonga. I am 5 years old. I love airplanes very much and I want to become an aeronautical engineer. Okay. This is Augusta.
Where is it made?
It's made in Italy. This is the tail rotor. This is the main rotor. This is the horizontal stabilizer, vertical stabilizer is here. The nose is here. Cockpit is inside here. These are the windows. Somewhere here is the fuselage. These are the wheels.
His passion for aviation is admirable.
This plane, we got it from Commander Ogola in Kenya Air Force. He took me on a Belyuhi. We went to Thika. Then we landed somewhere, we turned around, then we went back to the airport.
And what did Captain Ogola tell you? What did you learn about planes from him? What did you learn from him?
Even Captain Mutua was there.
And what did they teach you?
About a plane. What did they teach me? They teach me parts of a plane.
Like this one? What about parts did you learn about this plane?
About?
This one. And what is it called?
The F-17 Thunder.
At the age of 1, his parents noticed his mental ability was way beyond his age.
God said to them, you can eat everything you find here, but there is one special tree.
We noticed he could easily read words that were appearing on TV, especially during news time. So, and he had not done any formal learning, so he could just like relate when he sees the wording during news. So he could read by himself. But later when we tested with, of course, with other things like now newspapers, or magazines, he could comfortably read. So by the time he was 2 years, he was reading quite well.
What was unique about him, he never have that interaction with other kids. Whenever I placed him with other children, you could see he's like a part. He's not mingling a lot with them, and that could make me like to understand more why is the reason. But when I give you something like tablet, I give something like, for example, an app of alphabet. You can see now he's trying to follow the dots.
Gifted children are very inquisitive and will ask questions beyond their age.
The first time we noticed he's so passionate in planes, he found me one time doing a website, and I had opened an image of a plane. So he was pointing, he kept on pointing that. So I told him the name of that plane. It was called Antonov plane. Then we had him repeat that the following day. So now we had to, like, when planes fly past, we could tell him now those are the actual planes. Those are the ones, the images that you see. So that continued growing. That passion continued growing so much that himself and I could go to the internet, just check the planes, and comes and tells us that I need a Cessna. Can you buy me a Cessna? So because we don't know what is a Cessna, we have to go check online, get the image, go and look for a toy, such things.
Special needs education experts say that parents of children with exceptional abilities have tremendous responsibility.
It has been one of the most challenging moments of his upbringing, because when we enrolled him to a normal school that is doing CBC, but he was placed in the baby class. He was placed with his age mates, and it's fine. We didn't have an issue with the placement because socially he needs to be a baby. But now, academically, or these other areas, is far advanced. So we requested for an hybrid, where they're able to manage academics at his stage, but socially they manage him as a baby. But we find challenges a lot because the school also there is no standard policy that the school can follow, which tells them, for example, that accelerated should be done this way. Should he stay with the same student in the same class? They are learning the alphabet or ABC, and Amy is already reading, paragraphs.
Check, compression, combustion, exhaust.
You are taking off now.
Yeah.
When you are pulling it like this, you are taking off.
A lot of awareness needs to be created so that parents are able to identify and support these children early enough. There are currently no special schools for the intellectually gifted in the country.
We are hoping that with the new commission or with the new department in the Ministry of Education that is going to implement the competence-based curriculum, we are going to move forward and establish. Because as a nation, 58 years independent, and we have lost so many people because some of them go to other countries. They are recognized, and we know that even when we are talking to some people from outside, they have special jobs, they have been recognized, and we could be using them in our country.
The forces of a plane is lift, thrust, drag, weight.
While the Kenya Institute of Special Education is mandated to train teachers, the gap in the identification of these learners still remains a challenge. Tell me about this one. This is nice. Do you want to give it to me? Why?
I can.
You can give me. And then I return it or I keep it?
You keep it.
You're too kind.
There is hope, so these parents should not be so frustrated that what am I going to do, because schools in Kenya, private schools which probably will take care of that child, they're very expensive, I can't afford. Government schools, they don't have the same programs, or they're overpopulated and they cannot be taken care of. So as Studies of Maisha, I think one of the things we were trying to advocate for policy issues. How can the policy be looked at, and then we're able to now bring this thing into schools?
This is a F-16Z fighter. It is made in America.
Over 30 countries worldwide have clear policies around special needs education for the gifted and talented. The same is yet to be applied in Kenya.
We must remember that this child is a child. If they're 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, that's who they are. And they may be showing great aptitude for, say, a certain academic field, or, great intelligence or creativity or leadership that is exceptional. But this child, that's one aspect. They have developmental needs. They have emotional needs. They have needs with their physical development that ought to go in tandem with their being, whom they are. So emotionally, most of these children would not be well prepared and cannot be, to handle all that fame, all that attention, all that sometimes wealth that comes with it, and you're barely 6, 7 years old. You don't have the mental infrastructure, the emotional infrastructure to accommodate this.
Looks nice, eh?
5-year-old Elias Muthomi, like many other children, is different. The gaps lie in the lack of programs and assessment tools for identifying and nurturing these gifts.